นั่งได้
ห
นังสืออยู่ไหนครับ
หนังสืออันนี้หนังสือใครนะ
Can take this one he said
Okay.
Okay, already open book page 2 already together อัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทพุทโธมีนาโถพระเจ้าเป็นที่พึ่งของข้าพเจ้าอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทธัมโมเมนะโทพระธรรมเจ้าเป็นที่พึ่งของข้าพเจ้าอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทสังโฆเมนะโทพระสงฆ์เจ้าเป็นที่พึ่งของข้าพเจ้าอัญชลีวันทาอัญชลีอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวาพุทธังภะคะวันตังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามิอันธรรมยังพุทธัสสะภะคะวะโตปุพพภาคณมการังกะโรมาเสนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ Open page 25 episode อิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชชาจารณะสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตโรปุริสธรรมสารติสันทาเทวมนุสสานังพุทโธภะคะวะติสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันทิติโกอาการิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปานายิโกปัจจตังเวทิตามโพวินโยหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุชุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยายาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีติปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยาทิทังจัตตาริปุริสายุคานิอันทปุริสปุคาระเอสัพพะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุนายโยปาหุนายโยทัก กินายโยอัญชลีการณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญาเขตังโลกัสสาติอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทอัญชลีวันทาอัญชลีช่วงบ่ายนี้ก็ให้ปฏิบัติธรรมอยู่ใต้ร่มไม้ได้ออกซิเจนอากาศบริสุทธิ์ดีก็เดินจงกรมwalking meditation ก็ประมาณ45นาทีเดินจงกรมระยะที่1 2 3 4 5ถึงระยะที่5เนาะตามที่พระอาจารย์ท่านสอนแล้วก็นั่ง sitting meditation ก็ใช้เวลาประมาณ45นาทีเช่นกันต่อไปก็ขอเชิญคิดเตรียมมีอะไร
Ajahn Nippon said that especially sitting in nature is very beneficial for the meditation with the oxygen, with the birds, with the noises. So we should keep that and take it in. I'm a little hesitant to teach right now because it's so beautiful here, but I thought after the question and answer yesterday, it's good to get a little bit more wisdom in us. So I will say a little bit. Okay, and he said today 45 minutes of meditation again and 45 minutes of walking meditation. And whenever you can, try to do the walking meditation on natural ground. Yeah, so when your skin is mingling with the bacteria in the soil, it's very beneficial for you, and it also increases your meditation power. Okay, what I wanted to talk about, and I discussed that yesterday a little bit on the sides with Ajahn Nippon, was to round up the teachings a little bit. So the Buddha was saying there are basically the four noble truths. The first noble truth is that there is unsatisfactoriness and there is suffering, and we see that on our walk. We have touched it already. The second one is that the Buddha was saying the reason for our suffering, so the three poisons of the mind, greed and wanting, hate or aversion, and not seeing clearly. So, and the Buddha was saying, and that's really important, that the root cause of the three poisons of the mind is attachment. Attaching to something. And in Buddhism, you're not supposed to believe anything, but for the time of your meditation, your kind of working thesis is whenever there is anger, or aversion, whenever there's greed and wanting or delusion, then there is attachment to something. And if you find out what you are attached to, then the three poisons of the mind are not coming up. The third noble truth is that there is a way out of suffering. There is a way how you can overcome completely. That there's no base where these poisons of the mind can develop into. And the Buddha said we have to walk the Noble Eightfold Path in meditation to reach that point, which means right speech, right action, right livelihood, right meditation, right samatha, and so forth. So in the attachment part is the interesting part, because we fall into that so many times that we think, if I feel anger, there's a reason for my anger. Yeah, so I'll give you an example. And thank you, Mano, for yesterday, because I was exactly at that point. When I was a monk, the main time for monks is a rain retreat. That's from June to October, I think, or something like this. So the Buddha said the whole year you should wander around, never longer than 24 hours in one place, but then for 3 months, when it's raining, you come to the monastery and you don't leave the monastery anymore. So, and the time you're being a monk is counted in how many rain retreats have you set. And in the old times, that was when they were gathering around the Buddha and learning and meditating really intensively. It's still on here in Thailand, where the monks don't go out of the monastery. And when we were monk at Nan, we had 14 monks and one nun, Anya. Doing this very intensively. We woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, started meditating 2:30, just one meal. We never even left the third floor where we are staying in the monastery. We didn't go out for the arms round, just meditating. So we were so pumped up. And so we were meditating and going deeper and deeper and deeper, and suddenly a monk came in the middle of the retreat and said, "Guys, you all need to go out. We have children coming, classes, like 300 kids, and we need your rooms, we need the space here, go out." I was like, what? Maybe I shouldn't say that word. I was so angry. I was boiling inside because I was just like, this is the only time as a monk I can be in here, and for just some kids roaming around in the monastery, I need to go out of my meditation. I went down, and the other monks came and tapped me on the shoulder and, "Hey, Christian, how's your meditation going?" And I'm like, and I was so angry. So I was foaming going into Ajahn Samshai's office. I was like, why? Why are these kids more important than me? Why are you, getting me out of my concentration? Why, can they not be anywhere in these huge monasteries? And then Ajahn Samshai looked at me and he was laughing and said, "Oh, Christian, are you attached to silence?" I was like, yeah, maybe. Yeah? And I was so thankful for that, because in the moment I had the feeling I have all the right to be angry, because my meditation is more important than these kids. Ego is coming in, attachment is coming in, anger is coming in. Yeah? So just try to believe that for just the course of these 10 days. If there is anger, if there is greed, there's attachment. Okay, and you just need to find out, what am I attached to right now? And the answer will bring you really deep in your meditation, okay? So next thing, and probably all the answers for your questions yesterday will be in this teaching. The first one is, and that's really good to contemplate about. The Buddha was laying out the 5 hindrances in meditation. There are only 5 things which happen, which hinders you from really going deeper into meditation. The first one is lust for sensual pleasures, wanting that something in your senses is nice. I want to see something nice, hear something nice, and so forth. And to deal with it, there are 2 things. The first one is what I talked about before: contentment. Be content with whatever is. And the second one, and that's true for all the hindrances, realize it is a hindrance. If you have no idea that it is a hindrance, when you think, oh, if I finish my business, I finish my work, when I find out what I'm going to do in life, when I have my life organized, if I have my matcha latte, then I will be more happy. Then you don't see that it's actually just a hindrance coming in. But if you know, it's a hindrance, then I can just go deeper. And that's true with all the hindrances. The second one is ill will or anger or aversion against things. Yeah, and just briefly, because we talked about it before, the anti-poison to ill will is loving kindness. Whenever you feel that there's anger coming up, again, realize it's just an obstacle of your meditation, nothing else. No subtle ground to it, and then loving kindness can bring you over it. And sometimes it's hard when we're in this state to really switch. Also, when you're angry about yourself, when you are in aversion to things inside of yourself, just see it's just an obstacle. Yeah. The third one is, and Tanya, there's your answer to your question yesterday. Sloth and torpor. These are very old English words that means a total dullness of the mind and a heaviness of the body, and as a result of falling to sleep. So the Buddha said it's just a hindrance, and you have to distinguish between, are you just sleep deprived? Then of course, you will fall to sleep. But when you feel awake, you go into meditation, and then it comes very sudden. Then it's that obstacle. And I had it also before in the beginning of my meditation practice. Ajahn Somshai started talking. I was like, I was so, enthusiastic about what he's saying and so deep. And then, so there's something inside of us which does not want to get rid of the ego. Yeah? And we don't want to hear things which is pushing us in this direction. We don't want to practice things where the ego feels threatened. So, and that's, knockout mechanism. So sloth and torpor is the third one. Then the opposite of it, restlessness. That you're sitting and like, I cannot make one more conscious breath if I have to do something. Yeah? And this is when a lot of times the talking starts, because we cannot hold in the restlessness. We cannot hold in the energy of loneliness. When we go into these retreats, we push ourselves into severe, being away from others, and then the old feelings of loneliness, of not having connections, and then all the mind states of I'm not good enough, I'm too much for other people, and all that things are coming up. So it's a high pressure cooker what we do here. So, and then sometimes the talking comes in, yeah, and so have a look and see that it's just an obstacle in your meditation. Yeah. So, and what helps is a lot of times that you practice self-compassion with yourself, that this energy is there, that there's, a lot of things we're dealing with. John Kabat-Zinn is a very famous teacher from the US, once said that mindfulness is the hardest job you can do in the world. And not a lot of people dare to do that. Yeah, the Thai people say only very special people who did a lot of good things in their past even come to a place like this and do this kind of practice. Yeah? And Ajahn Somshai said that a couple of times in the last days. You're special. This is really special, what you're doing. Yeah, so practice a lot of self-compassion, but also, be proud of yourself. Don't judge yourself when you have these states of mind. But say, okay, then I change posture. I just keep going and going. And, let this come to you, what you are doing here, because it's incredible peace work. Okay? So, and the last one is doubt. So that our mind goes to a place of that we start to doubt Buddhism, we start to doubt Thai tradition, we start to doubt the monks, our teachers, whatever. And that is also just an obstacle, because here you don't need to believe in anything. Here you don't need to take on or become a Buddhist or whatever. It's just about you. It's just about your practice, and it's very, very precise, not concepts, but it's like, how do we purify our mind so that we can experience deeper states of peace, deeper states of harmony, deeper states of love. That's it. Yeah, the 4 divine states: metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, peace, and compassion and love. Yeah, so the Buddha says the antipoison to doubt is trust, not blind faith, not thinking, that you put your critical thinking into the corner, but for the time of meditation, just do what people tell you and see where it brings you to. Does it bring me to a place where my heart opens a little bit more? Does it bring me to a place where, wisdom is coming in, intuition is coming up, or not? So, and you just take afterwards what is serving you. Okay, just what that's your honey you squeeze out of this. So, but for the 10 days, just trust. And also what I said before, see that there have been millions of monks and nuns walking this path, coming to an incredible state of mind. Okay, this is clear? So, and now the Buddha said there are the 5 hindrances, and they are the gross obstacles in our meditation. And think about it, our consciousness is the ocean, and the 5 hindrances are the waves. Yeah, that's what's, very loud. And he said there are the 10 fetters, the 10 handcuffs, so to say, and they are the undercurrent. So, and I will go quickly through them, because also there were a lot of questions yesterday. The first underlying hindrance currents is Sakaya Ditti, belief in a fixed self. I am this person, with this personality, with this good traits, with this bad traits, and so forth. And Ajahn Sumshay talks a lot, and the monks are talking a lot about impermanence. There's no fixed self. We are the whole time evolving, we are the whole time changing, and only when we are holding on to our drama, to our beliefs, to our whatever, then we're trying to create a fixed self. And there's a big tendency inside of us, because we want to be somebody. And that's the reason why we are holding on so strongly to our drama, and we say the story of self. Our mind is constantly repeating a story of self when we close our eyes. I like this, I don't like that, I want this, I believe this, this is not right, this is just a fixed self. Does that make sense? That's a hindrance. So, and just really go deep with that. When you think I am not good enough, then you are just in the undercurrent of that, because there's no such thing. Second one is Vikikicha. This is doubt. This is also a very underlying distrust in life, an underlying distrust in our connection with other people. Not the learned one, but just an undercurrent of, just insecurity with others and oneself. Okay? Then we have Silabata Paramasa, an attachment to rituals and rules. A very, very strong one, that a lot of times we think that when I started the practice, I was just like, this is the truth. I had so many incredible meditation experiences, and I was just like, Buddhism is the truth. I heard it, I felt it. So, and then Anya was dragging me to India, and in all these ashrams, and then they were like, Hare Krishna, 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 and I was like, oh, this is so wrong, and they all their yogic chantings and all that kind of stuff, and Anya was thriving in these environments, and I was just like, no, this is wrong. This is wrong spirituality, until I realized I had this blockage in my head of right and wrong, good and bad, and this is better than others. And that's the next underlying currents is patika, ill will and aversion, like on a very deep level. Your mind is thriving on negative things. We love bad news. This is why there's not a single newspaper publishing all the good news. We have a negativity bias in how we perceive the world. I will talk about that a little bit later. It's just we are bound by nature to look at the threats and the dangers. So, like we as human beings are very stupid animals. We cannot run fast, we cannot climb good, we have not sharp teeth and claws and whatever. We cannot do anything good. So we can only survive because we are very good in anticipating the threats and the dangers. So that means our mind is the whole time watching for the negative. And we are overestimating by nature, estimating the threats and our disability, and underestimating our potentials. Yeah? Just for now. So now, why I'm saying that? The sixth one is Rupa Raga, attachment to refined meditative states. Yeah? So you can become attached to yourself. You can become attached to your opinions, what is right and what is wrong, and what other people should do and you should do. But you can also get attached to the altered states of consciousness. There were quite some questions, when meditation starts, what's going on there? How can I sustain it? How can I keep it? What's the next step? So there's a big trap that we get attached to the refined meditative states and thinking that's kind of like the goal of the path. It's not. These meditative states will help us to see the nature of reality. So, and for that, consciousness is deepening, mindfulness is deepening, and then we start, they talked about the nimittas, you can see light, you can see visions, you see colors, you see that your body dissolves, that you don't feel any pain anymore, that you feel like there is no self, and all this kind of stuff. They're very altered states of consciousness, but don't get attached to it. Yeah, the first time I had these things, I went to Ajahn Somsha. I was like, okay, what now? Now I got it all, kind of. And he said, oh, Christian, we call this obstacles of meditation. I was like, what? That was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. And he said, yeah, and now you will spend the rest of your meditation always waiting for it to happen again. Attachment, then you are in the past, then you're stuck, and you will not develop a single bit, yeah? So attachment to your refined meditative states. Mana is translated conceit, comparison. So that means you compare yourself with others all the time. It's a very, very deep obstacle in our meditation and a very, very normal tendency. So also from evolution, there's a reason why we compare ourselves to others. But in meditation, it can become a huge, huge obstacle that we either think everybody's so much better than I, and then your meditation is so difficult. Yeah, when you lose the doubt in yourself, the trust that you can do it and that you are doing good in this moment, that's a comparison. Or even stronger one, you think you do better than others. You know better. Yeah, you know, like, you know, we talked about it, you know, after I started meditating and did a couple of retreats, I was running around judging my friends like crazy. I was like, oh, they're so unmindful, you know, and then these people coming into the retreat and practicing mindfulness, and then they smash the cushions on the ground, and they're, you know, trampling through you know, it's just me comparing myself and thinking I'm better than other people. It's just a hindrance. Udacha, again, restlessness on a more subtle level. There's a fire that we always want something. So there can be 3 states of our mind: positive, neutral, negative. And we have difficulty staying with neutral. Our mind is constantly really reaching out. Sometimes you can see that when you sit in meditation and you go like, okay, breathe in, breathe out, and you can see your mind, okay, what now? You know, and then you can see that it's actually consciously reaching out to something I want to think about now. Yeah, because I want to get either to positive, or I'm, you know, a negative is better than neutral. So restlessness on a subtle level. And the last one is avijja, ignorance. It's a fundamental state of the mind which hinder us from getting into meditation, finding reasons why we can't, finding reasons why we can attach to my likes and dislikes and all this kind of stuff. So we think that we have a reason why we are going, why I have these likes and dislikes, and that they have a substance to it. And that there's a reason why we have them. In our daily life, we believe our dislikes. Yeah, so the other day, I was waking up and my mind was going to, Anya is never doing, I always have to do them. And I was really getting angry. You know, she's always avoiding, you know, the uncomfortable stuff. And poor me, I need to do that all the time. So, and then Anya was somewhere, and then I was making the bed, and I realized since we moved into our new house, I've never made the beds, never. You know, then I had to do the toilet of the cats, and I realized I never did the toilets of the cats. I fed the dogs, I never, you know, it just, the whole day was going on. And you always think you have a reason for being angry. So Luang Por Chah, a famous monk here in Thailand, he had a monk, and this monk came to him and said, look, I cannot meditate here anymore. You know, the cars are, you know, on the outside are so loud. We have roosters, you know, like you hear the roosters on the recordings of Luang Por Chah the whole time. And, you know, it's hard to listen to them because they're so annoying. And we did such a great job to design this pilgrimage because we were going from one mini marathon loudspeakers to the whole night party to, you know, just one obstacle after the next, and you were like, But I don't know if you recognize that the evening before they did the testing of the speakers of the mini marathon, and I was marching out. It was like, we are meditating in here. And they were like, oh. And I was like, oh, okay, I did that. And then next morning, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I was like, okay, this is over. They're running now. And then 5 minutes later, 4, 3, in another group. So your mind thinks, like you have a reason for it. And Luang Por Chah was going, saying, and the monk said, I'm leaving. And Luang Por Chah was like, oh, that's so interesting. Are the cars actually coming into this meditation hall here, tapping you on the shoulder and disturbing you, or is your mind going out to the cars, disturbing the cars? And the monk was like, So he unpacked his stuff and he sat down and started actually meditating. There was another monk in his monastery, and he was really suffering. He was, walking up and down, nothing was happening. He was, just so angry and, upset with himself. And then Luang Por Chah came and saw the monk. And he went up to him and said, oh, you really have a bad day today, right? And the monk was really, oh, my teacher sees me. And he was like, yeah, I have a really bad day. And Luang Por Chah looked at him and said, I wonder who's doing this. Yeah, we have trillions reasons why the outside is making me suffer. But if you realize that only your attachment to myself, my opinion, and whatever it is the root cause of your suffering, and you are free. Another time, a monk was really ill. It didn't know if he will survive. It was that severe. He was in hospital. Again, Luang Por Chah came to him and was holding his hands. And the monk was so happy because, he really needed some support and some energy. And again, he was so touched that Luang Por Chah was taking care of him. And then Luang Por Chah said one thing to him: you have two choices right now. Either you live or you die. Goodbye. And he left. He just went out of the room. And the monk was like, there's probably some truth to that. And the suffering is not only the suffering of the body, but it's the suffering of the mind attaching to me as a person, as a concept. Yeah, so it goes that deep. And what I would like to emphasize for you guys, which I was kind of like in my walking meditation today contemplating about, the mind can always choose where to land on. And we are walking, and a lot of times our mind is then, oh, my feet hurt and it's so hot and I'm sweating and I'm hungry and I'm this and I'm that. And in this moment I was realizing that we are walking actually with saints. Yeah, Ajahn Nippon and Ajahn Prasert. Prasert means perfect. So if you're looking for Mr. Perfect, it's him. Yeah, and when Anya and I, when we were meditating with them in the intensive meditation retreat, I've never seen a person meditating like this. Waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning with so much power. In every break they sat down and they were reading the scriptures until 10 o'clock at night for 3 months straight. They come out. When I became a monk, they were taking care of me. You have to learn how to fold the rope. It's just one big piece. To make that into a monk robe is really difficult. So for the first month I have had every day a monk coming dressing me like a baby. I was just standing there and they were doing everything. They were helping me with, chanting the chants I had to learn into my recorder so that I could listen to it. And they were taking care of me with so much love, with so much humbleness. And leave alone Ajahn Somshai, you go to university. I have friends who are teachers at the Buddhist university where we were yesterday. And I asked this teacher, what do the other teachers think of Ajahn Somshai? Because it's the second largest Buddhist university. So there you have the highest monks of the region. And this teacher said, everybody thinks Ajahn Somshai is the one. He's the walking Buddha, he said. And this man is going back and forth to teachers, twice a day. He's just standing there and going, lift your right foot, now lift your left foot, lift your right foot, with so much love and compassion. And a lot of times our mind goes to, this is not good, this is difficult, I want this different. And in reality, we are just walking with saints. One of the most incredible people you find on this planet in my eyes. And the question is, do we realize this? Or are we so absorbed with me, mine, how I feel? When Ajahn Somshai is ordaining a monk, he becomes the father of all these people. And there was one meditation retreat where in the end Ajahn Somshai said, for these 10 days, you put your life into my hands. And now I give you your life back. And I was like, there's this amount of care, this amount of attitude these people have for us coming here is just mind-blowing. And the question is, do we see it? Do we open our heart to actually let that in, this beauty, that people take so much care of us? Look at the Thai people here. They open their space for us, that we can learn. They're coming with us. They're opening our blisters. Now, Pidang, she has her own business. She has her own family. She has her children, and she's taking care of Ajahn Somshai since 25 years. Giving her money, giving her care. And, do we open our heart to how amazing of an example that is of what we are talking about here? Yeah? So if you look with your heart. When you listen to the teachings, listen with your heart. And allow the beauty to come in. And then we can walk, no matter how painful it is, then we can walk in pure bliss. Because we are so fortunate to be able to experience these people. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So, and what I mean is, when I bow to these ajahns, I do that with my whole heart. With the deepest respect. It's not an empty gesture. It's not something I do or learn. It's, it's an expression of my heart. When I chant the chantings, I do it with my whole heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, guys, enjoy your meditation. I will put 45 minutes, 45 minutes. So there is still half an hour. So that was 45 minutes.
ลำดับต่อไป please เมตตาภาวนา meditation page 250ทุกกิจเธออาหังอาเวโรโหมิอัมพายาปัจโจโหมิอานิโกโหมิสุขีอัตตานังปริหารามิมาตาปิโตอาจาริยาจายาติมิตาจาสาพรหมจาริโนจาอาเวพยาปัจจาหุนโตอานิคาหุนโตสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันโตเอมัสสมิงอาราเมสัพเพโยทิโนอาเวราหุนโตอัมพยาปัจจาหุนโตอานิคาหุนโตสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันโตเอมัสสมิงอาราเมสัพเพภิกขุสามเณราจาอุปาสกอุปาสิกายาชาอาเวราหุนโตอัมพยาปัจจาหุนโตอานิคาหุนโตสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันโตอัมหากังจตุปัจจยทายกาอาเวราหุนโตอัมพยาปัจจาหุนโตอานิคาหุนโตสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันโตอัมหากังอารักขเทวตาอิมัสสมิงวิหาเรอิมัสสมิงอาวาเสอิมัสสมิงอาราเมอารักขเทวตาอาเวราหุนโตอัมพยาปัจจาหุนโตอานิคาหุนโตสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันโตสัพเพสัตตาสัพเพปานาสัพเพปูตาสัพเพปุคลาสัพเพอัตตภาวะปริยาปันนาสัพเพอิทิโยสัพเพปุริสาสัพเพอริยาสัพเพอนาริยาสัพเพเทวาสัพเพมนุสสาสัพเพวินิปาติกาอาเวราหุนโต อาพยาปัจจาหุนตุอานิกาหุนตุสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันตุทุกขามุจจันตุยาธารัตถาสัมปติโตมาวิกาชันตุกามัสสกาปุราธิมายาทิสายาปัจฉิมายาทิสายาอุตตรายาทิสายาทักขินายาทิสายาปุราธิมายาอนุทิสายาปัจฉิมายาอนุทิสายาอุตตรายาอนุทิสายาทักขินายาอนุทิสายาเอติมายาทิสายาอุปาริมายาทิสายาสัพเพสัตตาสัพเพปานาสัพเพภูตาสัพเพปุคคลาสัพเพอัตตภาวะปริยาปันนาสัพเพอิทิโยสัพเพปุริสาสัพเพอริยาสัพเพอนาริยาสัพเพเทวาสัพเพมนุสสาสัพเพวินิปาติกาอาเวราหุนตุอาพยาปัจจาหุนตุอานิกาหุนตุสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันตุทุกขามุจจันตุยาธาลัตถาสัมปติโตมาวิกาชันตุกามัสสกาปุตตังยาวะภวะคาจาอาโทยาวะอวิชิโตจาสามันตาจักวาเรสุเยสัตตาปัทวิจาราอาเวรปัจจานิเวราชามีทุกขาจานุปัฏฐวาอุทังยาวะภวะคาจาอาโทยาวะอวิชิโตสามันตาจักวาเรสุเยสัตตาอุทะเกจาราอาพยาปัจจานิเวราชานิทุกขาจานุปัฏฐวาอุทังยาวะภวะคาจาอาโทยาวะอวิชิโตสามันตาจักวาเรสุเยสัตตาอากาเสจาราอาพยาปัจจานิเวราชานิทุกขานุปัฏฐวาต่อไปแต่เมตตาแปลเป็นภาษาไทยด้วยเนาะ สัมเพสัตตาสัตว์ทั้งหลายที่เป็นเพื่อนทุกข์เกิดแก่เจ็บตายด้วยกันทั้งหมดทั้งสิ้นอาเวราหุนตุจงเป็นสุขเถิดอย่าได้มีเวรแก่กันและกันเลยอาพยาปัจจาหุนตุจงเป็นสุขเถิดอย่าได้พยาบาทเบียดเบียนซึ่งกันและกันเลยอานิคาหุนตุจงเป็นสุขเถิดอย่าได้มีความทุกข์กายทุกข์ใจเลยสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันตุจงมีความสุขกายสุขใจรักษาตนให้พ้นจากทุกภัยทั้งสิ้นเถิดต่อไปไหว้พระพร้อมกันเพทูอรหังสัมมาอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวาพุท ตังภะคะวันตังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามิอากาศหลวงปู่โพพระครูโพธิสารคุณอดีตเจ้าวาดวัดโพนนทานพร้อมกันอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทอัญชลีวันทาอภิวาทอัญชลีวันทาอัญชลี
Anjali Wanta Aprivat. Anjali Wanta Aprivat. Anjali Wanta Aprivat. Anjali Wanta Anjali.
สาธุอนุโมทนาบุญกับทุกเด็กรีแลกซ์นะผ่อนคลายพักผ่อนได้เย็น6 โมงทำวัดอยู่ตลาดนะ
At 6 o'clock, we are going to meet for chanting in the Buddha Hall. And I'll come and make sound.